Welcome to the Cake Adjacent Podcast, a once-a-week update on all things food, family, gardening, whatever. We call it SideCar. If it has to do with the rituals around food and holidays, making food or taking it places, or remembering what we were eating during important times in our lives, we'll talk about it here. I am your host and bestie, Jen Coleslaw, coming to you from the yet again cloudy and humid suburbs of Northern Virginia, where the traffic is some of the worst in the country, and it rains every single weekend. Hello, my lovelies. How are you doing? May is such a busy month for so many of us between wrapping up the end of fiscal year stuff at work and school graduations and sports teams and the unofficial start of summer and Hallmark holidays that sometimes make our hearts hurt. But there's also all the farmers markets that open and the strawberries and the peepers that are so loud at night. And they're so loud at night. And days in the garden and all the plant sales and the digging out of the grill for hot dogs and chicken kebabs. And then waiting for the first fireflies of the season. That's the best. The first fireflies. The last few months have been hard, my friends. I was banished from my office, and I lost a big part of my identity for the past 15 years, and I feel like I'm on a kind of house arrest, even though that is clearly a me thing because I can honestly work from anywhere. But the hurt is still there, and the continuing fallout from that shitty way I was summarily bounced, that is dredging up old memories and hurt feelings and anger from a previously unlawful firing that was one of the reasons Ben and I left Providence for Virginia. And because, as you know, I have the memory of a fire safe. I forget nothing, except where I put my glasses, and all of my grudges are long and hot forever. Okay, so anyway, for the past month, I've been going back and forth between being overcommitted with meetings and presentations where I have to be on, and feeling mad and sad and despondent and daydreaming of just quitting and working part-time on environmental policy and part-time on creating content. But yesterday I cleaned off counter space in the kitchen where we have a little built-in desk, and I set up my work computer finally. It is not the best setup, but it beats taking meetings from my bed all the time with my laptop, which is killing my neck and back. But it doesn't help with the whole feeling like I've been banished, that I have nowhere to belong, that I've been cast out of the government center Eden, which is definitely a metaphor too far, a metaphor, if you will. But I think you catch my drift. I still don't have tomatoes and peppers in the ground, although they are placed where they need to be, so I guess that's something. The pool is up and filled, but the ladder still isn't in it. I find myself looking back at the pictures from 5 years ago when I was in Wales. 5 years ago! The whole world turned upside down since then. Sometimes I wonder how and why we survived. Maybe we didn't. And what we're in right now is just this godless limbo that my mother-in-law always worries about for my eternal soul. But the good news is that I have about 15 pounds of strawberries in the freezer and about 5 pounds of rhubarb and a plan to get that dining room work area sorted out. And, thanks, neighbors, for that loud car going by. I'm trying to keep the momentum up after getting some of the kitchen sorting out, so that I can have room to work on consumables. So another thing that happened last week is that while I was up to the vet office with Pete, thinking that we were at the end for him, spoiler alert, he's fine. He's just an old guy with more than the usual 9 lives. There was a message from my beloved stepfather's daughter's husband, also known as my brother-in-law R, who I have not even ever met because Mom always said that that side of the family never wanted anything to do with me. That my stepsister, Kay, who is about 6 years older than I am, resented me for getting all of the quality time with her father and to not try to make a family out of that. And for some 30 years, Mom told me that. Don't send Christmas cards. Don't invite them to your wedding. Don't send a present to your niece's graduation. Don't. So I didn't. Except it wasn't true. Because my brother-in-law, we had this long talk on the phone when I called him back, and he told me so, and it was wonderful. because Gordy loved him so much. He loved both of us so much. And in the end, just like she did with me, from Mom tried to keep R from talking to Gordy at the end. But he found out where he was and called, and Gordy was so happy to talk to him. So I spent the weekend being so very angry and resentful that my mother kept me from knowing this side of the family, and devastated that what she told me about Gordy's state of mind at the end was simply not true. Yes, he was in a lot of pain and he was ready to part this mortal coil. But no, he didn't want it. He didn't want to be left alone and not speak to anybody. And I have taken a week to try to just come to terms with all this new information, but it is clear that there's no way to get any closure on it because my mother is just not capable of understanding, either before or now, how awful, how hurtful, how absolutely unforgivable this is. How is it that my mother knew me so little that she didn't think that the love I have for my family is infinite, that my heart isn't just one size, that it expands to meet the space requirements of the people that I let into it? Did she think that I would somehow have less love for her? What is that even about? How could she not know me? Even you guys know me better than that. I know I'm harping on this, but it is so egregiously shitty that I've actually reached out to my doctor to find someone in Kaiser's mental health department to help me process this and this stuff around being banished from my workplace and wondering if I will lose my job next week, and dealing with having cancer during a global pandemic and all of the baggage that goes with that. Therapy seems to work for other people, and maybe I'm finally at a place in my life where it will work for me. It hasn't yet, but who knows, maybe this time is the charm. Wish me luck. In other historic news, it has been 5 years since I went on my great trip to Wales, and I love that Google reminds me. I must have taken 200 pictures of gardens and castles and trees and cats and beagles. There's so many beagles in the UK. And I ate my weight in scones and clotted cream and strawberry jam. And I had to borrow an entire other suitcase when I came home just for all the chocolate and souvenirs. And I went through customs and was asked, "Do you have anything to declare?" And I said, "I bought so much chocolate." And the guy just looked at me. He goes, "That's not really what we're looking for, but how much chocolate?" We had a big laugh. My mother always told me, more mother advice, which in hindsight might not have been the best, that I should get my career and do my work and I could travel when I was older and settled. And, that didn't really happen at all. So when I talk to people younger than me, I always tell them that there's plenty of time to get stuck in a career that will suck the life out of you, or raise a family that will pull you in 30 different directions every single day, and you can't even be alone on the toilet. And to have a mortgage and car payments and all the stuff that, yes, brings you joy, but can also be a weight around your ankles. Travel when you're young. Have adventures when you're young. It doesn't preclude you from having adventures when you're older, but with the exception of living in Oregon for a few years, I have lived on the East Coast, a pretty short plane ride to the UK and the EU my entire life, and I didn't actually go there until 2015 when I went on a conference with Ben, and then again in 2019 to meet my childhood pen pal. Here's the thing. You can't live life backwards, no matter how you try. We get older, and it gets harder in some ways to just be spontaneous. It isn't impossible, but it's definitely less fun to sleep on the ground in a damp sleeping bag or on a too short love seat and just carry a backpack with 2 changes of clothes for a month when you're middle-aged and chronically ill. I talk a lot here about how I can feel the clock ticking of time lost. The last 5 years have been a blank. We'll never get that time back. We'll never get those people back that we lost. In a few days, it'll be 12 years since I sat by my father's hospital bed as the sun came up over the Thames River, and I watched the Fisher's Island ferry head out for the morning. And he would be gone by the end of the day, and you cannot get time back. It's been 15 years that I've been in this job and that office, and now I am crippled by anxiety when I even drive by that building. Anyway, what I'm saying is that you shouldn't put off things that you want to do for some weird commitment to work and career or what you think you're supposed to do. I mean, don't be a ne'er-do-well or anything, but in the past 15 years that I've had this job, I have probably taken a total of 6 weeks of time off, and that includes the days I was in the hospital for 5 different surgeries, plus recovery time and a trip to Wales. And what do I have to show for it? Not much. A living room full of office trinkets and posters and note cards and comics stuffed in a bag that were taped to my door, and a whole lot of shame where confidence should be, and even more remorse that I didn't just quit when I got sick and try this whole new lease on life that other people talk about, but I've always thought was bullshit. Okay, enough about that. In pet news, I was pretty sure that Pete was at the end of his lifespan, and I took him up to the vet to have him get looked over and have Dr. Smith agree with me. And despite him being more than 18 years old, he has the blood work of an Olympic athlete, it seems. And I would like to know who he is stealing lives from. And it's probably me. Anywho, I need to try to get more food into him and have him gain a few pounds back so he's a little more robust. So now, along with his $80 a bag dry food that all the cats have to eat because we free feed here, we now have some wet food for him that he's only barely ambivalent about. He would much prefer to have cheese puffies, pizza, coconut rolls, lasagna or any kind of pasta, turkey sandwiches, anything with ranch dressing on it, scrambled eggs, baked potatoes, ramen, chicken salad, or bacon. And Mr. Unhinged Toast Crunch, also known as Rufus Russo Rojas Tennis Ball is Life, has been with us for 1 whole year. And he's such a delight. He's definitely still a little unhinged, but he's totally calming down. And I'm pretty sure that he has this overactive empathy gene that you would never have expected from him. I cannot wait to build him a ramp so he can get into the pool and swim laps with me. Murder Kitten also went up to the vet because she was hiding under the bed for 3 days and not eating, but we can't quite figure out what her deal is, and she seems to be feeling much better. And everyone continues to get along pretty well, and I am keeping my fingers crossed that that continues. So, since I've been spending all of my time at home, and because I can't have silence because of my tinnitus, I have the TV on at all times, or music, or both. And I wanted to tell you about some TV shows that I've been watching on the off chance that you might like them as well. First up is Slow Horses, which is a British spy series starring Gary Oldman as a washed up and out MI5 agent in charge of a bunch of other misfit, washed out, and up MI5 agents, but do not be fooled, this is not a comedy. I have to watch it with closed captioning because of all the ambient sound, and the accents make it hard for me to hear the dialogue, but it is easily one of the best shows I've seen in a few years. There are 3 seasons, and they're working on season 4 and 5, and it is on Apple TV. I started The Bear, but I think that it is a little too close to real life, my old real life, for me right now. The first episode broke me into a lot of pieces, and I haven't watched any more. I can already tell how beautifully written it is, but it's still too raw even after all these years. And so I started watching Will Trent, which is fine. Kind of a typical network TV show, and nothing offensive about it. Plus, I'm pretty sure that the sister of one of my internet besties is a locations production assistant on that show, which is filmed in Atlanta, and I love to support her because she is the cat's pajamas. Okay, and finally, congratulations to all of our graduates out there. My nephew Patrick graduated from high school this week. and he has picked Virginia Tech after being accepted to all the schools he applied to. And everyone's favorite dog mom, Jen G, who graduated from Harvard yesterday with another master's degree. And I wish I had just 1/8 of the energy that she has. She's a force of nature. I am in constant awe of all the things she accomplishes, and not just the things that she does, but that she does well. Don't tell her I said this, but I would kill to be her assistant and soak up her knowledge just by being near her. And no, that isn't weird at all. Okay, so it's the end of the month, so let's talk about food holidays, plus a reminder about Rabbit, Rabbit, Rabbit next Saturday and a preview of June's food holidays. Okay, today is Friday, May 24th, and it's the end of the day, and our food holidays for today are National Escargot Day, which is something I will 100% skip, along with Asparagus Day. So, frankly, I didn't miss anything. Hopefully, those are things you don't care about either. But it is also Caterers Appreciation Day, and I can totally get behind that. There is little better than a catered lunch or a breakfast, and if this was 25 years ago or more, I would still be working at Brown University this weekend, which is commencement weekend, and I'd be department hopping for all of those little ham and cheese and turkey and chicken salad finger sandwiches that food services would make for all of the celebrations for all of the academic departments after the big event on the green. And I get to meet all the students' parents and their siblings, and that was really one of my favorite parts of commencement. It was always a long day, but it was worth it. Anyway, caterers work so hard and such long hours, and if you know one, you should tell them that they are loved. Tomorrow, Saturday, the 25th of May, is National Wine Day, but I will probably just add an H to mine and make it National Wine Day and spend the day complaining that it's raining or that it's too hot or there are no donuts at the farmer's market. Oh, and speaking of the bear, it is also National Italian Beef Day. Sunday is National Blueberry Cheesecake Day. Yum! And National Cherry Dessert Day. And even though it's a little early for both of those fruits here in Virginia, I will allow it. I love cherry cheesecake and cherry turnovers and those Italian cookies with the gummy maraschino cherry in the middle. On Monday, the 27th, is Memorial Day, and I am reminding you once again that Memorial Day, or Decoration Day as it was called when former enslaved persons decorated the graves of Union soldiers, is not the same thing as Veterans Day, so don't be thanking people for their service unless you're at the grave of someone who died fighting in a war. Save that for Veterans Day, which is in November. Monday is also Grape Popsicle Day, and that is not my favorite flavor. Banana is my favorite flavor, in case anyone was wondering. Although, as far as ice cream treats on a stick goes, I really like actual ice cream, like the Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream with chocolate almond coating, or those Johnny Pops, which are fruit and I think yogurt, although they might be fruit and cream. Anyway, they're delicious. And I also used to love those Trader Joe's Fruit Flows, which were really just fruit juice and fruit, but I'm not sure they have them anymore. The lime ones were so refreshing on a hot day. I will have to check for them. Okay, it is also Cheese Rolling Gloucester Day. And if you have never seen this, please Google it. It is where they roll these giant wheels of cheese down a hill in England and everyone chases after it. And the one who makes it to the bottom of the hill without falling and breaking something wins the giant wheel of cheese. And when I mentioned that, you have to make it to the bottom of the hill without breaking something, like, I am not joking. It is bonkers. I do not feel good watching the footage of that day, but I absolutely do watch it. Because how can you not watch something like that? It looks like something out of the Game of Thrones, for dog's sake. Okay, so Tuesday is National Brisket Day, and I'm not sure if I told you, but Ben is really in charge of cooking all of the meat in the house. His pulled pork in the slow cooker is so good. I absolutely could eat it every week. But the thing is that I don't like it as leftovers because when it heats up, it has a really weird smell, and I'm really weirded out by the smell. Anyway, maybe I can talk him into a brisket this weekend. He loves brisket, and I like it well enough, but not as much as I love pulled pork. But we had pulled pork last weekend. Plus, it's barbecue week. Oh, and it's passion fruit martini day, and I might make myself one, but it will be non-alcoholic, of course. Did I tell you that I am thoroughly enjoying my homemade mango Pepsi, which I sometimes now make with Coke? It is so delicious. So if Pepsi doesn't want to sell mango Pepsi to Northern Virginia anymore, that's fine. I will make my own. I have my own real sugar cola syrup too, so I could totally make my own from scratch, but it got filed away when Kath was here reorganizing and I haven't found it yet. But I'm going to try to get some generic cola maybe from the grocery store and see how that works. And that way neither Coke nor Pepsi gets my money. Because I don't know if you know, but they're one of the top 60 polluters in the world. And I don't really like to be a part of that, despite my love of Coke and Pepsi. Anyway, Tuesday is Coco Vende, which is chicken and wine. And it is also National Biscuit Day. And we made some biscuits the other day for our pulled pork, just the kind that do the pop can thing. And we had some leftover the next night that we had toasted with chicken salad and some of Ben's famous coleslaw. His coleslaw is so good. And on the second or third day, those biscuits are much better toasted, I think. I think that they have a tendency to get kind of gummy the second or third day, but if you toast them, they are absolutely edible. Also, it is National Alligator Day, and I am positive that it is a day to learn about and celebrate alligators, not to eat them or make them into belts. I do not care if they taste like chicken. And finally, it is Learn About Composting Day. I'm going to drop a little knowledge on you. Did you know that about a quarter of what goes into a landfill is food waste? And if you add in other organic matter like yard waste and grass clippings, that number goes up over 50%. So more than half of what is in a landfill could absolutely be diverted if we had a more robust composting infrastructure. Here at our house, we compost our food waste, but not meat, bones, or dairy because that's for commercial composting facilities, not home composting facilities. Plus our grass clippings, leaves, most of our yard waste that isn't poison ivy. We have a chipper that we chip up any large pieces of wood, and those wood chips go into the compost as well. Lots of municipalities are hopping on the bandwagon because they're finding they're running out of landfill space. So if you have the opportunity to bring your food scraps to a transfer station, or if you have curbside pickup of your food scraps, or you can drop them off at your farmers markets as we have here in Northern Virginia, please take advantage of that. Thursday, May 30th is Mint Julep Day, which seems like it should be on Kentucky Derby Day, which is always the first weekend in May. But I don't drink mint juleps, so I don't make the rules, and you can have them whenever you want. It's also International Hug Your Cat Day, but please remember to ask for consent first because you do not want a Me Too lawsuit in your household. Cat lawyers are relentful. Finally, February the 31st is Macaroon Day, which is a coconut or almond cookie thing, not to be confused with macaron, which is an egg white cookie thing with filling, but I like both if anyone is asking. And since I've been talking about it here, a plug for National Save Your Hearing Day, which is also the 31st. Did you know that the sooner you get your hearing checked, both as a kid and as an adult, the better your chances are of adapting to whatever treatment you're able to have? The sooner you get hearing aids, the better they'll work for you. And the sooner children are diagnosed with auditory issues, the faster they can have adaptive solutions that do not include them having to guess at what people are saying to them. I'm not sure why there's this stigma around hearing aids and there isn't around glasses. They are a tool to help you hear, just like glasses are a tool to help you see. But people wait far too long to admit that they have trouble hearing, and by the time they get a solution, it can be too late for it to be very useful. So please don't wait. And if you have a kid who acts like they don't hear you, maybe they don't actually hear you. Get their hearing checked before you yell at them. Same goes for little kid eyeballs, by the way. Signed, a little kid who didn't get glasses until she was in 5th grade, despite not being able to see anything for her entire childhood. A reminder that it is Rabbit, Rabbit, Rabbit for Saturday, June 1. Make a note in your calendar to alert you at midnight 01 or whatever. We need the luck. I am not joking this time. My job is on the line. Okay, that's May. Now, how about a teaser for June's food holidays? It's National Candy Month, and these days my candy of choice are, of course, soft chocolates like, truffles, seas candies, fudge, the usual, but also Jelly Belly beans because they are small and they have just enough sweetness and sour, but they are not so big that all that chewing is hard on my jaw because I'm still having trouble with my jaw. I'm also enjoying all of these crazy freeze dried candy that our farmers market vendors have. Have you tried the freeze dried candy? They take hard, chewy things like nerds or runts or milk duds, um, or whatever, and they freeze dry them in these freeze drying machines. And then they become light and airy and melt in your mouth and not chewy or hard. But they still have the flavor of the original candy, but the consistency is completely different. It's wild. It is also National Dairy Month, and dairy is easily one of my favorite food groups because it includes cheese and ice cream. It is National Fresh Fruits and Vegetables Month, National Iced Tea Month, National Papaya Month, National Seafood Month, which the cats can have all of mine, and it is National Turkey Lovers Month. And I do love turkey, so I appreciate that. But it is so doubtful that I would ever roast one up in June. But I do get the sliced turkey at Trader Joe's that is in the fresh food to go case. And then I use their ciabatta rolls and I warm them up in the toaster oven. And then I put some Swiss cheese on. And then I smash some avocado on. And then the turkey. And man, you have got yourself a top shelf sandwich right there. Yes, you do. Let me know when you try one. Saturday, June 1, rabbit, 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 is National Hazelnut Cake Day, which is whatever. That is easily my least favorite nut. Well, right after these nuts. I'm swapping it out for almond pound cake, I think. It's also National Bubbly Day, which I guess is a way of celebrating sparkling wine without saying the champagne word and getting into trouble with France. It's also World Milk Day. And did you know that AI said, because I saw it today, that the FDA agreed that any white liquid can be called milk? Look it up. AI is going to revolutionize so many things, and none of it for good. And it's National Pen Pal Day. Yay! Happy day, Bev. I know she probably doesn't listen to the podcast, but she's my oldest living friend now that everyone else from my childhood has died. Okay, Sunday, June 2nd, is Rocky Road Ice Cream Day, and Rocky Road is different from Heavenly Hash, which was a few months ago, because Rocky Road is chocolate ice cream with chunks of marshmallow nuts and chocolate, and Heavenly Hash has all of those things, but in swirls instead of chunks. Either way, it is not my favorite ice cream. And Monday, June 3rd, is Egg Day, and I think eggs deserve an entire month, or at least a standing holiday every single week. Like, like Wednesday or Sunday. They are the bedrock of so much that is good in the world. I'm sorry that some people are allergic to eggs, but you people can have all of my seafood and alcohol and asparagus. Okay, so one more day, and that is Tuesday, June 4th, and it's a big day. It is Applesauce Cake Day. It is National Cheese Day. I got so excited. Couldn't even say it. Cheese Day. It is National Frozen Yogurt Day. And it is National Cognac Day, which honestly I could really care less about. But if other people like it, I'm not going to yuck your yum. Okay, friends, that should keep your shopping list busy for the next 10 days or so. This week, we are sending healing energy and pain management out to my sister Catherine. We are sending more good days than bad for Fred, Kathy, Ella, and Susie. We are sending a new normal for Jen and Ingo and the swim team, and healthy vibes and ease of travel to our friend Coach Robin, and an orange kitten with white undercoating for Bunsen and Beaker. And my big heart has room for anyone else listening who needs a little support and lovies. You know where to find me. Please keep supporting the podcast by rating it on your favorite platform, or even better, all the platforms. That would be so awesome. And by recommending it to your friends, your frenemies, and your pickleball gang. You can join the Patreon at patreon.com/2chocolatekes for recipes and snail mail and poetry and photographs and other little things that I drop in there. I don't want to pressure anyone, but I could be totally fired at the board meeting in the next few weeks. Just kidding. Not really. I might be. Anyway, I'll see you next week or so. And until then, it's definitely time to put your plants in the ground, no matter where you are in the United States. And it is time to change or clean the filter on your air conditioner. And my evergreen reminder as we get closer to the presidential election, get your news from reputable sources, push back on the bullshit from your family, and above all else, blame the right guy. See you soon.